Holy it might actually happen. After an absolute roller coaster ride over the last 6 weeks trying to get to Division 1, it's actually within reach now. If you've been following along on my streams, you've seen the ups and downs that I've gone through, but I've got to say I am playing the best NHL that I have played all year, and we're going to get back to breaking it down in this video. Now, a couple things we have to discuss, and number one is the changes to the team that I've made. Since the last video, the NHL Draft 25 event was released, and while the event was not spectacular, as a Sharks fan, I went ahead and made Michael Misa's 96 overall and added him to the team. The other big changes on defense. I talked about in the last episode that Brent Burns was just not working out for me, so I actually made the 96 overall Eric Chernak, and I replaced Brent Burns, and I gotta be honest with you, I've been playing lights out with Eric Chernak. This card has been fantastic since I added him to the squad. The only other change I made to the team was acquiring Joshua Ravensbergen, again, another Sharks draft pick. There was nothing wrong with the 93 Anthony Stolars I was using, but Ravensbergen in the 4 games I have played is a perfect 4-0. His goals against is 1.22 and a save percentage over 90. He's been everything I could have hoped for. Now, when it comes to the newest content, the Hut Origin event was dropped, featuring some pretty end-game 97 overall player items that have completely free zone abilities. I gotta say, I love the fact that they added Dougie Hamilton representing the Niagara Ice Dogs, but I feel like I only get right-handed defensemen to add to the team. It's like the position I need least on the team. We also finally got a new Austin Matthews at 97 overall. That is almost perfect across the board, but honestly, the card that I'm most interested in is the 97 Steven Stamkos. Essentially 99 everything, has gold wheels and elite edges, and 99 faceoffs if I need to put him at center. I've talked about this a lot, but the 92 overall warp speed cards are still fantastic. 99 speed with gold wheels is still such an advantage that they've remained useful ever since they've dropped. However, if I can add a 97 overall with better stats across the board that also gives me elite edges and free gold wheels, there's potential I could make the swap there, moving on from Owen Tippett and giving myself another endgame right-handed winger. George Laraque is never leaving the team, simply because people need to know that, yes, a 35-year-old dad can get top 100 in Hut Champs.
You're embarrassing yourself, you geriatric.
Never say never, baby. Now, the other issue with Dougie Hamilton is that the new XP Path final boss player is the 98 overall PK Subban, and again, he's probably going to be someone I add to the team completely for free. There's just no room on my team for a right-handed defenseman. The last thing I want to talk about for all of my other no money spent brethren out there is the new Origin Collection set, where they have you collecting all of the players from the event that's dropped, and they're actually giving you bonus rewards for just collecting them. But the Legendary Origin Collection specifically, if you can get all of the 96 overall Master Set items, you will get one of the 97s back for free. It will be account bound, but you'll also get all of these cards back as well untradeable, meaning that you can make at least 2 more 97 overall players that all come with free zone abilities. Now, as someone who has burned through his entire collection, if you watch my rankings video, I went over all of the free stuff that they're going to give out, and you can essentially get halfway there to making all of the Master Set items. Because there is a 1-week timer on this, I'm going to shoot my shot and try to make all of the week 2 Master Set player items to see if I can't do it that way. The other thing I'm doing when it comes to the XP path and the collectibles I'm getting from it is because this event, you absolutely need collection fodder that you can use to trade in. I'm doing the random 87 overall and above choice pack for 5 collectibles. And the reason why is because when you do this pack, you essentially get 2 shots at pulling something that's at least 89 overall, which is the barrier of entry for that event. So far, I haven't gone 2 packs without pulling at least 1. And in all honesty, about 80% of the time, I'm getting an 89 overall player. So I'm just trying to beat the odds and go this route as opposed to no risk at all and just going with the 89 and above item. This just appears to be the better value for me personally. But now let's get into my latest game, getting me up to 2,047, 53 away from Division 1. Let's break down the game tape. So I've been talking about this for weeks now, but one of the mechanics that, in my opinion, you absolutely have to start taking advantage of is the reverse hit. I think it's absolutely comical. And while technically reverse hits are in real life, the fact that you can punch someone in the face while controlling the puck and they get absolutely knocked out is one of the most absurd plays in the game. So, and right here, this is another perfect example of how I should have been completely cut off on a zone entry. I just knocked Lindstrom clean out, and I almost scored on the backhand with a pass right through the middle. The next thing is just patience in the offensive zone. Holding onto the puck is really a skill gap that you need to just be okay with and get more comfortable with if you want to continue to move up divisions. On top of that, taking advantage of your player's X Factor abilities and not just playing the game and hopefully having these X Factor abilities come into play while you're playing is something that I think not enough players actually do. So with Lindell right here, he has gold close quarters, so what I'm able to do is hold on to the puck with him. I wait for the player to overcommit, and then I go in and shoot low far side, getting close quarters to activate, which is a crazy save in this scenario. This next sequence is another example of holding onto the puck until you're absolutely confident that you have something set up. Again, it can look a little frustrating and hard to pull off because I think a lot of people run out of patience. But as you can see, I get into the middle on the backhand. I literally have no high danger shot at the net here. So I keep holding on to it, curl to the right with Marchand, and then finally at the point, Makar opens up for a one-timer that unfortunately just gets blocked. It would have gone in had it actually hit the goaltender. But just another example of excessively holding on to the puck, something that I've gotten far more comfortable with as I've gotten higher and higher in Division 2. Faceoffs are incredibly important. And again, I stress, if you haven't mastered faceoffs, go watch my faceoff tutorial video. But I've talked about this a ton. You essentially just can't get tied up in the defensive zone. And a lot of people, that's what they go for. The stick lift beats the tie up, so I'm able to win the draw here. One of the things that I look for is that far side winger, but it's usually covered the passing lane. Saucing it off the board manually here to McDavid allows me to get the puck past that forechecker. And while the puck is coming in, again, this is going to take a lot of practice, but I'm already looking at the next pass before McDavid picks up the puck here. You can see that he player switches and puts immediate pressure on with Orr, but I've already prepared for a pass right into the middle for Scheifele, and now I've got a chance right at the net. I'm able to hold off both of his players trying to defend and get back, and then it's a backhand forehand upstairs for a goal. And again, that entire sequence happens simply because of winning faceoffs. Now I want to show you, again, a bit of a broken play. So in this situation, I actually go for a tie-up instead of a stick lift just because my opponent is actually pretty good and he's picked up on what I'm doing in the defensive zone. So I go for a tie-up and we both just kind of clang heads in the middle of the ice. It's kind of a broken puck. And as you can see, I lose it with Niedermeyer. Something that I have now started doing in my game is when I'm controlling my centerman in the defensive zone, I let my opponent move first. The amount of times, just like in the offensive zone, where if you just stop skating and make your movement so much softer. What I mean by that is not moving directly at the puck or directly cutting left and right if you think there's going to be a pass, just kind of chilling. It'll force your opponent into running out of room and just making a mistake. So he curls back to the point, but the shot is blocked and I pick it up with George the Rock. I'm able to get some speed through the neutral zone. One of the best dekes that you can do is simply just an L1 windmill deke the opposite way. And I do that here as he's rushing with Chelios to make a play to stop me at the blue line. What that does when I cut in the middle is it opens up Bondra on the far side. I'm able to get some time and space. I cut right back into the middle, and Bondra's able to hammer it home low far side, and it's another goal for me. Here's another perfect example of just not being so aggressive every time that you don't have the puck. One of the things that always made me super angry while playing higher division players was that I was always giving up situations where there was just my defenseman back, whether that's a 2-on-2 or a 2-on-1, but every time I was taking a rush up the ice, players always had a forward back. Watch out when I lose the puck here, defending the rush, I select Lundell, who is my center, and it is important to make sure it's with your centerman. And I just sit in the middle, not skating, and force him into my AI defender. I'm literally just covering the passing lane. And what this allows me to do is he's going to focus on the player that I have selected. I wait until the absolute last second so that I'm close enough to actually get a hit off. I switch to Chernak and immediately hammer him into the boards. This is why shutdown is one of the best abilities in the game, and I'm able to pick up the puck. I curl in the corner with Brad Marchand, look for a quick outlet to Ovechkin, and then I have the puck with Lundell. One of my favorite moves is whenever someone is going left or right, you can just do a spin move and it will almost always work because they overcommit, and Lundell gets a great chance at the net, and Ovechkin is stopped in tight. Here's a pro tip. Anytime that you've got your opponent behind the net, try and force them into the middle of their ice. The reason for that is there is just usually going to be a lot of bodies in the way, whether that's your own players or your opponents, And in this situation right here, as he tries to break the puck out with Scheifele, I try to force him into the middle, which I do. He sends it to Hudson, but McDavid's already close to there, and it forces a pass that he sends into the middle of the ice. I use L2 and R3. By clicking those two buttons together, you will auto-select the furthest player back automatically towards your goaltender. In this situation, it's Victor Hedman, and I'm able to intercept the pass. Just because you don't get the puck back, forcing your opponent to make quick passes that they don't want to make will lead to a lot more turnovers for you. Now, one of the most important things that I've gotten better at is managing my lines. Anytime that my offensive line has gone on a rush and I've lost the puck, I don't go back for a second opportunity down the ice. It is an immediate switch, and that's something that you just have to get used to because of the stamina issue in NHL 25. This next tip is when you are defending the rush, if you have not closed the gap by the time they're around the top of the face-off circle, you want to just play for the low far side shot. So instead of committing towards the player here, I simply just go to where I think he's going to shoot, and it's an easy shot block for me that sends it into the corner, and I'm able to break the puck out with Marchand, and we're away the other way. And to put the finishing touches on another big win on the climb to Division 1, again, that spin move going the opposite way of the defender is one of my go-to moves. It looks so sweet, it's easy to pull off, and George Laraque hammers it home with 0.6 seconds remaining, and we lock up yet another W. So the climb is almost over. The goal of the series, get to Division 1 without using any glitches, so we can finally put NHL 25 to rest. Stay tuned for the next episode as I look to close in on Division 1.